Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
Hey guys, I'm Emily.
And I'm Lisa. And we are the Conscious Collaboration Podcast. Hey, Emily.
Hey.
Hey.
Missed you.
It's been more than 5 minutes, I think.
We've actually been talking for the last hour. So.
Well, today we are going to delve into something a little bit deeper into the concepts of business. And we've toy around a lot with success and imposter syndrome and perseverance and all that. Well, I feel like the next step here to talk about is the energetics of business as a whole. And we can talk more about what we think that exactly means to us and what it could mean for entrepreneurs and how to measure the success of their business. Because let's face it, as entrepreneurs, we're flying blindly a lot of times. There's not a lot of metrics, especially for those who've just started out, especially if you don't have, many years where you're able to look back at seasons compared to seasons. And throwing in the wrench of everything, we had COVID, and that threw everyone's statistics off. And it feels like, and that was maybe for a good thing. It feels like there's been a great shift into really delving more into the organic aspects of business in terms of attracting engagement and treating it more as a living, breathing entity. And we talk a lot, Emily, about our businesses being an extension of ourselves.
Yes. Why don't you update everyone on the portion of our conversation that kind of sparked this idea of the energetics of business?
Yeah, so we were talking about the energy of creative power and taking a look at what that means. And in feng shui, we were looking at that energy. It shows a really beautiful dynamic. And there's this art that I look at that displays what the hexagram of creative power looks like. And it shows a lot of feminine and masculine qualities in terms of the picture of creation. And I was thinking back to over 20 years ago, being in school for business marketing and learning about the crucial things that you need to learn to be able to gauge the success of a business. And we used an acronym called SWOT. And doesn't that sound like an aggressive war term?
SWAT team.
Yeah, like SWAT team. So like SWOT analysis.
Different spelling, but yes.
Yeah, I was asked to do so many SWOT analyses back in the day and even early on in my corporate career. And they're very boring. I hate the word. I hate the acronym. And it stood for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then when social media came along and we got online and we were able to build digital storefronts and so on and so forth, we added a second T, which is technology. And so I played that game for a while, but it was very aggressive. It felt very aggressive. It felt very detached from the actual people in an organization, unless you forcibly found a creative way to write that in there as an asset.
It forces a very rigid structure.
Yes. Yeah. Very rigid. And it took away from that essence of a business where we were talking about our businesses being very organic. It made it feel very flat and transactional, very like weaponry.
Yeah.
So like very competitive and aggressive, exclusive. And now we look at today's landscape and we have the Conscious Collaboration Podcast, where we've been engaging with a lot of people and finding ways to create different businesses together, combining businesses to create experiences and to help and the greater good. And I mean, it's a movement. It's a thing.
Well,
So much so.
I can definitely see how the dynamic may have shifted and continue to be shifting as a function of the changing business environment as far as actual men and women. Where the business world in general for the longest time being completely male dominated, and over the last several decades having that shift, I think it's inevitable to literally have more feminine energy infused into how business is done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you look back to when I was in college taking business courses back in the day, and I don't even think that any of those any of those lessons are applicable even today. But women had only been in the workforce for like 25, 30 years, really. And certainly there wasn't much of a footprint in leadership as much as it is today. Diversity was very low. It was, very much the assumption, oh, you're a female, you must, are you here to get my coffee?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not here to take your order. I'm running the meeting. So so now that's not even, I feel like that's gone. I feel like anyone operating under that SWOT analysis to see if their business is going to be able to survive and thrive in today's landscape is
It's
they're
becoming a little
way off.
obsolete. Yeah.
Yeah, it's obsolete. It's very rejecting. Certainly not going to attract employees or collaborators that, if anything, it's just going to be insulting. And that kind of energy is felt across the board.
I think there are probably elements of it, right, that could be drawn from and taken into a better, more complete analysis tool. Because you do need to be able to evaluate the things that sort of fall under that more masculine structure within your business to maintain, because the goal is not to have a completely, feminine business.
Right.
Energetics either. That would also be out of balance. You want something more balanced so that you can really stay on top of the ebbing and flowing energy of the world.
Yeah, exactly. Just more harmonious with all of the dynamics. And I think, you did a really good job pointing that out when we were having our pre-conversation, talking about the energies of creative power. And what we saw, certainly it's a hexagram that contains all yang lines. So it's all very masculine, but the image of itself showing creation, the imagery is interchangeably. You could look at it through a feminine lens and see a different picture than through the masculine, but together it makes the energy of it. And the metrics too. I mean, I don't want to go back to to a university right now and learn the way the metrics are a business. I prefer to continue as I am. But, I think that we're onto something with coming up with our own metrics of evaluating the endurance of and the success of a business. And we hear a lot about the energetics of business being thrown around, but really I've not seen a tool or like a way to assess. So there's open ways and discussion of ways that you can support the energetics of a business. But I think what we're on to here is talking about an actual assessment. And I think what you said too, I think you started with like the sacral, right? We were talking about the sacral energy being.
Yeah. When we were talking about that idea of creative power, when I think about creativity, if you're looking at it from a chakra context, I always think of sacral chakra, which is largely associated with creativity, and sacral chakra is all about the element of water and flowing, and which is obviously a very feminine kind of dynamic. But you could apply, as an analysis tool, you could in some way apply all of the chakras to determine, how balanced a business is, and what might need to be tweaked in order to get a business that is out of balance back into balance. And here's something I always say, like, at least in regards to the human body. Because, my background is in Western medicine, nursing, right? Very concrete, very technical. But once I started dabbling in the yoga and learning all the energetic things, my philosophy kind of started to evolve. And it's like a lot of people look at it as either East or West, or, natural medicine or physician governed Western medicine, whatever. But I think that is doing ourselves a great disservice to feel like you have to only look at one or the other. Like, of course, we, use our newfound capabilities with modern medicine, but we can also apply the concepts that have been working for thousands and thousands of years, integrated right into those more modern concepts to really and this is the meaning of the term holistic, right? It doesn't just mean natural, it just means to treat the whole person, or in the case of a business, the whole entity. So by ignoring the invisible, air quotes, or energetic aspects of things, we're literally ignoring entire systems of the body or of the business, just as if we were to ignore the circulatory system or the nervous system, things would not work very well or for very long, would they? They would fall apart. So I think to incorporate the invisible but definitely present aspects into our business in the same way that, I see doing that with the human body, I think would be a really interesting and beneficial turn to this whole conversation.
Yeah, and just fun, and a way to put a new lens on evaluating how well your business is doing.
Right. And so you could use chakras, you can talk about masculine and feminine energy, you can, and you already do, apply feng shui principles to it, any of the, and the list goes on, even astrology, any of those sort of things. Human design, absolutely. Being that our businesses are an extension of ourselves, I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the better we understand ourselves, the better we understand the business. And we were talking a lot too about, as we were talking about the energy of creative power and the importance of, and an organic being that thrives is one that's in motion, not stagnant and healthy and working order components. So I think when you're evaluating the energetics of business, perhaps in this different way, through this different lens or perception, it's tapping back into that creative power, and it releases a lot of that fear we were talking about in our last episode, that fear of success. But let's taps more back into that creative, that play, that energy, that forward thinking mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes you more, we were also talking a lot about the concepts of endurance and durability. And, you, I think, gain and display those things by being adaptable. really. Because the world is always changing, the environment is always changing, the energy, the people around you, the situations around you, always changing. So if you are only rigid, or your business is only aligned via rigidity, then it's not going to withstand that. Not adaptable. Rigid and adaptable, I mean, they're basically opposites. So adaptability is flow is feminine. It only makes sense to incorporate those things.
Yeah, it's like you're already taking yourself out of the game if you're clinging to something that's, this is the textbook way. I mean, of course, you need to have the textbook to refer to,
Right.
and the
But you have to
things.
be flexible.
Right. But be flexible, adaptive, and forward thinking, out of the box. And two, as you were talking about the holistic health of business, is that sense of self, and connecting the sense of self with our business. There's a lot of talk around, in both psychology and in business too, is that sense of being small, or not being able to take up the space in a room as a person, or in the in business environment as a business. So that goes hand in hand too. I could see that playing into the energetics evaluation.
Right. Well, and so when you apply that idea to an individual, when you're misaligned in some way, when your chakras are not aligned, or for whatever reason your energy is off, then you are more inclined to shrink yourself, right? You're lacking confidence, and you're literally, a lot of times you can physically see it on people getting smaller and smaller. It's even a cue in my restorative classes. We're doing just lying down breath work, like take the biggest breaths you've taken all day. Don't be afraid to take up space. Then, if you're misaligned as a person, and then you do things to get your energy back aligned, you'll notice every aspect of your personal life improving, more than likely. Well, I think you can see that so it's kind of hard to imagine at first, to picture how a business could shrink, right? But the example that comes to my mind is kind of like social media, right? Particularly if you are, I guess, more of an individual brand, you can, or at least I've experienced this. I don't know if you have as well, but where you'll doubt about posting something or putting something out because you don't want to bother people, or seem like you're conceited, or posting too much, or what it's stupid, or whatever the different things that you could kind of tell yourself as a business are. I think that's one of the ways that shrinking idea can kind of appear in business. And so, just as with realigning the individual, I think realigning a business that's energetically out of alignment could improve those kind of factors.
Yeah, I think the downside of playing it small as a business is, well, at first it makes you invisible.
Yeah, you said you hate the term small business.
Yes.
And now I'm jumping on that bandwagon.
It's not one of my favorite
small
things.
business. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We'll put that
I
on
understand,
my ad
the
smear
definition
campaign when I run for politics, which is never going to happen.
Don't do that.
Don't do that when I run for politics. That's not even a thing.
You don't have time, Emily.
I don't have time. I don't want to.
I mean, they're by definition, I know it's like by employee count or revenue or something like that, but there's got to be a better term than that. There's
it's very self-limiting.
There's such a sea of entrepreneurs out there, and people that are taking up the space in the environment. It feels like a bigger movement. I think we deserve a better name. Maybe we can work on that in another episode, but it's like it when you are playing it small as a business, you're kind of hiding from threats, but you're also shying away from opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to be able to organically attract in your people, whether it be your clients or your collaborators or
I mean, I can definitely see the pros to the small business idea as well. People, oftentimes find it more trustworthy, that kind of thing. And they want to support a small business over a big business, but also that language could easily be shifted to local business or something of that nature. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you know what? I think maybe I'm just feeling like it's a personal attack because I think
it's completely about you.
It's completely about me. But, because
look at that small little Lisa.
I think we choose to be under a certain employee count as small business. And I feel like there's a little bit of like, well, you're only at this.
Mm-hmm.
You're under this, this 1,000 amount of employees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel, maybe
kind of that imposter syndrome sneaking in too. It's like, well, I haven't done this yet. I haven't achieved this yet. So,
Yeah, but maybe we don't want to be tens of thousands of employees and spread.
If you apply that concept to basically any other thing that you're trying to manifest in your life, you're basically manifesting that you stay small.
Right. So I would like to change the word small to something else, but
okay. Well, let's start a petition.
Yeah, but I'm not getting into politics, but I love it. I like the idea.
No politicking.
We're going to be analyzing our businesses here on out.
Yes.
Through the chakra, through all of the energetics that we've learned, and through our collaborators that are in these different areas.
I think this would be a really great conversation for our collective as well. There's a lot of energetically inclined entrepreneurs and business people within that group who I think would have a lot to add to how their different methods could contribute to some sort of standardized energetic assessment tool.
Yeah. I'm ready to start doing
so
it.
Let's talk about it, collective.
Let's talk about it. If you're not in our Facebook group yet, you can find us at the Conscious Collaboration Collective on Facebook. I think it's called Conscious Collaboration Collective, right?
That's right. Say that 10 times fast.
Nope.
I'm
not going to do it. And you can always find us on Instagram as well, too, at the Conscious Collaboration Podcast.
Yeah.
Or find us an email.
Gmail.
At the Gmail. The Conscious Collaboration Podcast. And I think this is good. I'm inspired. I'm going to start, this is it from here on out. Every quarter, I'm going to be looking at the energetics of my business in this way.
Yeah. Let's line up our business's chakras.
Yes. Yeah. It's that whole inner outer game, tying it all together. So I think that will be a good way for us to gauge our alignment as we move forward. So Emily, this has been fun. Anything else you want to add before we go on out into the world?
I don't think so.
Our little energetic fairy selves. Bring it to the car circle.
Bring it to the car circle.
All right. Well, it's been fun. I can't wait until next time.
Yes, ma'am.
Talk to you in 5.
Talk to you in 5. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business.
send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.